Hey guys, let's get Facebook to join us. Hi everyone. I really appreciate you joining me for Storytime Sunday. This story is called Take the Ice. It's about a skater named Marlene Shireen. Um, she started skating when she was about 5. She would get up at 4 in the morning and skate with her mom. Her dad was her coach. Her parents were extremely supportive. And the boy next door, um, who was also in her kindergarten class, one day saw her skating and they started a conversation. His name was Henry Bullard. And Henry and Marlene became fast friends throughout high school and throughout school, elementary school, high school, and in college. Um, Henry went for his law degree and she continued. She didn't go to college. She she continued competing professionally. And when they got older, um, she came back to her hometown uh, when she was competing in the junior skating championship. She was about 17. And then she and Henry started dating. And then um, they fell in love and got married, but because of her busy schedule, they hardly saw each other. And while she was really good at figure skating and she won all kinds of competitions, um, Henry also did well in his law practice. They were both doing really well. Won a, she was a pair skater and she won a lot of gold medals, like every competition you could win. She went to the Olympics twice and really a phenomenal skater. Marlene Boyard was just a household name in skating. Um, just very driven to succeed. And her husband, uh, Henry, did the same in his law with the law. But in their in all their successes, what they didn't realize was they were having all of this success, but they didn't realize they were drifting in their marriage. They had both been Christians from a long time, but she was what you would call a nominal Christmas and Easter uh, Christian, while he was a serious Christian. But when they rose higher and higher in their success, they kind of didn't take God with them, and they kind of left their faith behind, and he started climbing the legal ladder and winning all these corporate cases, um, and she started winning all these skating competitions, but their marriage was slowly eroding. They were strangers, and because she was never home, and when she was always at practice. And when on her 30th birthday, he had planned a birthday party for her. But what happened was she didn't tell him that, no, she assured him that she would be home at 7. So he got all their friends together and said, okay, be home by 7. We're going to have a nice romantic dinner. But what she didn't know was he was planning a surprise party for her and their friends, because he still held out hope. And he, where she was a nominal Christian, he was he didn't take God with him, but he was more serious than she was. He prayed once a day, but it wasn't really strong. So so the night of the party, she was at rehearsal until late, and she was rehearsing with her partner because they couldn't get this certain spin, this certain part of the routine. So her and her partner were rehearsing late, and then she said, oh well, it went past 7:30, all of that. And then she said, oh well, he'll understand. My schedule is busy and nationals are coming up. So when she got home, he was sitting in the dark, and he said, well, where have you been? She got home at like 12 at night, and she was supposed to be home at 7. She said, he said, where have you been? And she said, I was at practice. You know that these are nationals. You know I have to practice and rehearse. Me and Jeff couldn't get this part of the routine. We needed to do it before we got it right. He said, you know, I was planning a surprise party for you. I had all our friends, all our family waiting here for 2 hours for you. They finally gave up and went home. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry, but you understand how important this is for me. More important than your birthday, more important than our marriage. And then he's she said, well, kind of, yeah, this is my career. He said, I can't believe this. She said, he said, Marlene, I'm so proud of you. I love what you've done, but it's ruining you and it's ruining me and it's ruining our marriages. We're like strangers. We don't talk. We don't do anything that couples do. I can't remember the last time you've even held my hand. Never mind the last time we were intimate with each other. Why are we married then? He's like, well, I don't know. She's like, well, it hasn't hurt your career any. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, what do you mean that the dinners, the arm candy, my career has done wonders for your career, so don't you tell me about our marriage. It's about sacrifice, and we both sacrifices. We both knew the deal getting into this. I knew the deal with your legal career, and you knew the deal with my skating. So why is it a problem now? He said, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I can't be married to a stranger who I never see. She's like, that's fine. I'll call the lawyers on Monday. And she ran upstairs. And it had gotten to the point in their marriage where they both shut down, where they both started working. So a few days went by. At rehearsal, he moved out and everything was crumbling in their personal life. And a few days went by, and at rehearsal, her partner went to do a turn, um, a triple axel, and fell on his leg and broke and not twisted his ankle, broke his leg in two places. And the doctors said that he couldn't skate. So what happened was, when they found that he couldn't skate, because nationals were only weeks away. But what happened was that they needed to find somebody else for her to rehearse with in the meantime. And his brother knocked on his office door because his brother, Henry's brother, and him were really close. His brother knocked on his office door and told him, look, Marlene's in trouble. She needs a person to skate with. She needs help. He's like, oh, she'll find someone. I'm sure. I'm sure her coach has someone lined up. He's like, they've tried everyone, and the people that they could get are busy, and the people that they've auditioned are not good enough, and they won't get them up to speed. Her coach told me that he has an idea. He thinks you should do it. And Henry's like, me, I haven't never skated in my life since I was 7. And even then I was terrible. He said that he could get you up to speed. Um, he, he, Even if he did get me up to speed, Henry said, there's no guarantees that I would be ready to perform with her. He said, well, call him. Just call him, you never know. So Henry called the coach, and unbeknownst to Marlene, it took some convincing, but unbeknownst to Marlene, um, pr- privately, um, he was taking, Henry started taking lessons with her coach about how to skate properly, about how to do the lifts properly, about strength. And a few months later, when they still couldn't find anyone, um, her coach said, I have one more audition. And when her husband came, she said, he says, I have one more audition. And she said, yeah, who? And then her husband walked in the door and he said, um, she said, well, you must be kidding me because he can't skate. He's a lawyer. Um, and they start arguing and fighting. And the coach says, look, Marlene, you don't have time. I've been training with him, and he's really quite good. He's like, just let him show you what he can do, and then we'll go from there. And she said, all right, I'll see what he can do, but you're crazy. So the music starts, and he starts skating, and then because his month of training had made him totally a pretty good skater, not as good as her, but was she was amazed how good of a skater he was. So when the music stopped, she was like, are you crazy? We still can't do this. Nationals are weeks away. And the coach said, well, I can teach you, I can work with you two. You two already have one of the most important aspects of pairs, and that's chemistry. And so he's like, we're running out of time. We need somebody to rehearse with you. Um, and she says, okay. When they first start practices, though, it's awkward. Like, they keep falling. They can't even get the rhythm right. They can't get anything right. They keep falling and, they keep arguing over every little step. And they can't even move together as a team. And what happens was, like, the coach says, okay, you guys need to learn to move together. You guys need to learn to anticipate each other's movements. So instead of straight skating like we have been doing and failing at miserably, I might add, I'm going to take you through exercises where you have to learn to trust each other. So he took them through one exercise was one person was blindfolded and the other person had to tell that person where $50 was, and if they could get to the $50 without falling and working together, they wouldn't have to skate that afternoon. It took them some time, but they did it. and they had they did another exercise where they were in a pool, and he had to hold her up in the water because she couldn't see, and if because she was blindfolded, and she had to trust him to hold her up, and they did the same thing with her holding him up. So all these trust exercises where they had to learn to trust each other helped with their skating. And in the end, not in the end of the story, but at the end of the week, they began to trust each other. And the turning point was um, it was their first week back from doing the trust exercises, and their fluidity together as a couple was greatly improved because they learned to trust each other. And there was a time, however, where she had went down to the rink, and she was practicing her part of the routine, and he came behind her, and they began to move together as a team for the first time. And it was beautiful, and the coach saw them and said, "That's it, you guys are moving together." And after that practice, they were very they were moving together as a team. Being a figure skater all her life, she was always fighting against this other team that was from another country. And they had always been egging her on, like calling her slow and doing all this and spreading lies about her. They did it every year. But this year, knowing that she was skating with her husband, they were really vicious, this team. They kept spreading lies about her, saying that she was juicing and using enhancement drugs, and he wasn't. He had stolen money. All these lies, and it got so bad that the day, so they passed the first part of the national competition, but when it came from to the final day, all this pressure with the people that were saying all this stuff got to her, and was not she's like, you know what, I can't take it anymore, because what happened is the team that was rotten spread flyers to the judges that she was taking performance enhancing drugs. It was lies, of course, but they were being investigated. And the night when they were getting ready to perform on their last day, they had made it through all these competitions and all this stuff. But the night before their final competition, what was happening was Um, the coach came to them and said, "I'm sorry, but because of the investigation, they're not letting you skate tomorrow. You have to forfeit the competition because they're not sure that this allegation is true or not. So, and they can't have anybody that is using performance enhancing drugs." Um, and then she is so devastated because the thing about this year from any other year, it was her retirement year, and she really wanted to go out with a bang. And this was the most vicious thing that this couple had said, that she was taking performance enhancing drugs, and that he was doing some shady practices in his legal practice. And and while she was crying, um, he just comforted her. He just said, "Honey, we'll take the ice. We'll take whatever comes. And if you don't win, remember, if we can't skate tomorrow, it's okay because we've got each other. You know what happened? We lost we lost each other in our marriage because we both got so busy with our own careers. But these past few months working with you and training with you, I I'm amazed by your drive and amazed by what you do. I was always amazed by what you do, but I didn't understand how hard it was. I didn't understand the sacrifice and the pain that you went through. And no matter if we get to skate tomorrow, know that I'm beside you. Know that I'll take the ice with you. Know that we'll slip together, fall together, but we'll always get up together." And no video, no malicious emails, no malicious posters, no malicious social media posts can ever take away from your talent. He said, "Honey, let's pray." And she said, "What? Pray?" And he said, "Yes, pray." She's like, he's like, "I've been doing it a lot for you and for our marriage, and that's what we have been missing because we drifted away from God. But I've been secretly praying and getting back my relationship with God, and it seems to be helping me. So let's pray." So they prayed together, and the very next day, it was found out that not only weren't they taking drugs or having anything illegal go on in his practice as a lawyer, but the people that were accusing him were the ones actually um, having the illegal, participating in the illegal practices. So they were disqualified, and the husband and wife team won the championship. And she went out with a bang, and it was even greater because she she, she and her husband opened a school for underprivileged kids to learn skating, to learn um, to learn proper technique. A school where people didn't have to pay any had to pay a very nominal fee, and they got donations, and the school was helping uh, amateur skaters, professional skaters from around the world, and they became a couple that was envied, uh, not only by the skating community, but they got their faith back, and by the church community, they became envied too, uh, because they learned how to communicate and trust each other again. And through skating, God used that and those trust exercises to um, bring their marriage back together. So, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this story. I certainly enjoyed telling it. Um, and I'm sorry, some of these stories seem a bit scattered because I can write better than I can speak. So sorry about that if this story seems a bit scattered. I'll see you next week for Storytime Sunday. Bye. So thank you, YouTube. Join me next Saturday for the sermon. I hope you enjoyed this story. I enjoyed telling it. Bye.